Yuna pressed her face against the shuttle window as they approached the human fleet. Her breath fogged the cold glass. Outside in the darkness of space she could see them. Pieces of ships. Thousands of pieces floating like leaves after a storm. Metal twisted into strange shapes. Some pieces were as small as her hand. Others were as large as buildings. She had studied 47 different species across the galaxy. She had written 12 research papers. She thought she understood war, but nothing in her books prepared her for this graveyard. The pilot, a young human woman with tired eyes, glanced back at her. She noticed Yuna staring. "First time seeing a debris field?" the pilot asked. Yuna nodded. Her throat felt tight. "How many ships?" "We stopped counting after 300, the pilot said. She turned back to her controls. "Most of those are ours." Yuna felt sick. In her culture, the dead were honored. Their bodies were returned home. But here, human bodies floated in space like garbage. She wanted to ask why they did not collect them. She did not ask. She was afraid of the answer. The shuttle docked with the battleship Vigilance. When the door opened, the smell hit Yuna first. Burnt metal, sweat, something chemical she could not name. The air was too warm and too dry. The lights were too bright and flickered sometimes. A tall man waited for her. His uniform was clean but old. Patches covered holes in the fabric. His face was lined with deep wrinkles. His eyes were cold. He did not smile when he saw her. "Dr. Che," he said, "I am Admiral Minho Kang. Welcome to the Vigilance." His voice was flat, unwelcoming. Yuna had been warned that humans might not want her here. The Galactic Council had forced them to accept an observer. The Admiral clearly did not like it. "Thank you for having me," Yuna said. She tried to sound professional, confident. The Admiral looked at her for a long moment. "You want to study us? Study how we fight? Fine, but stay out of the way. When things get real, I do not have time to babysit." He turned and walked away. Yuna hurried to follow. The corridors were narrow and dark. Pipes ran along the ceiling. Water dripped from some of them. The floor was metal grating that made noise when she walked. Everything looked damaged. Everything looked old. "How long has this ship been in service?" Yuna asked. 23 years, the Admiral said without looking back. She was supposed to be retired 8 years ago. "But we need every ship that can fly." They reached a large door. It opened with a hiss. Inside was the bridge. Screens covered every wall. People sat at stations, their faces lit by blue light. No one looked up when Yuna entered. Everyone was focused on their work. The tension in the room was thick like fog. "Captain Park," the Admiral called. A woman turned from one of the screens. She was younger than the Admiral, maybe 30 human years. Her hair was pulled back tight. Dark circles sat under her eyes. But when she smiled at Yuna, her whole face changed. "You must be our observer," Captain Jiwon Park said. She walked over and held out her hand. Yuna shook it. The captain's grip was strong. "Welcome to the Steadfast. That is my ship. You will be staying with us." "The Steadfast is a frigate," the Admiral explained. "Smaller than this battleship. You will be safer there if we see action." Yuna noticed he said if, not when. But the way everyone moved, the way they watched their screens, told her they expected fighting soon. Captain Park led Yuna through more corridors to an airlock. They crossed to the Steadfast through a connecting tube. This ship was even older. The walls had scorch marks. Some panels were missing, showing the wires and pipes behind them. "I know she does not look like much," the captain said. She ran her hand along a wall like she was petting a loved animal. "But the Steadfast has brought us home from 12 battles. She always gets us home." Her voice was soft when she said it, almost like a prayer. They walked through the crew areas. Soldiers sat in groups talking quietly. Some were eating. Some were cleaning weapons. One young man was writing something on paper. Real paper, not a screen. When he looked up and saw Yuna, his eyes went wide. "An alien," he said. He jumped to his feet. He looked excited. "Private Doyen Shin," the captain said sharply. "Show some respect." The young man's face turned red. "Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, Dr. Che, I have never seen a Valari before. You are the first alien I have ever met." Yuna looked at him. He was so young. Maybe 19 human years. His uniform was too new. His face still had softness to it. He did not look like a soldier. He looked like a child playing dress-up. "How long have you been in the military?" Yuna asked. 6 weeks, ma'am, Doyen said proudly. "This will be my first real battle." The other soldiers in the room got very quiet. They looked at Doyun with expressions Yuna could not read. Pity, maybe. Or sadness. Come on, Captain Park said. Let me show you where you will sleep. The quarters were small. Just a bed and a desk, but it was clean and private. Through a small window, Yuna could see stars. And more debris. We have a briefing in 2 hours, the captain said. You should attend. Dr. Ryu will be there. He is our xenopsychologist. He will help you understand what you see here. After the captain left, Yuna sat on the bed. It was hard, uncomfortable. She pulled out her recording device and began her first log entry. Day 1. The human ships are in poor condition. They are old and damaged, but the crew seems devoted to them. There is tension here. Fear, maybe, but also something else. Determination. They know battle is coming. They are ready for it. I do not understand this readiness. My people would be trying to negotiate, to find another way, but humans seem to accept that fighting is inevitable. She stopped recording. Outside her window, a piece of debris floated past. It was part of a hull. She could see letters painted on it. Part of a ship name. Someone had died in that ship. Maybe many people, and the humans just left them floating here. At the briefing, Yuna met Dr. Hajin Ryu. He was older, with gray hair and kind eyes. He smiled when he saw her. Dr. Che, he said, I have read all your papers. Your work on the Deltari peace rituals was brilliant. Thank you, Yuna said. She was surprised. Pleased. I did not expect anyone here to know my work. I was a professor before the war, Hajin said. His smile faded. Now I help the military understand how to fight. The briefing began. Admiral Kang stood at the front of the room. Behind him was a star map. Red dots showed Krithak positions. Blue dots showed human ships. There were so many more red dots. The Krithak are coming, the admiral said. Our scouts detected a fleet entering this system 4 hours ago. 200 ships, maybe more. Yuna looked at the map. The humans had 47 ships. Why not retreat? She asked. The question came out before she could stop it. Everyone looked at her. The admiral's eyes were cold. Because behind us is Earth, he said. We retreat, they follow. They catch us with our backs to our homeworld. Here we choose where we fight. Here we control the battlefield. But you are outnumbered 4-1, Yuna said. Yes, the admiral said simply. He turned back to the map. We have been outnumbered since this war started. We are still here, the briefing continued. The admiral explained tactics, formations, attack patterns. Yuna tried to follow, but she kept looking at those red dots, so many of them. After the briefing, Hajin walked with her back to her quarters. You are wondering why we do not surrender, he said. It was not a question. Yes, Yuna admitted. In my research, I found that most species surrender when odds reach 3-1. You are beyond that. The Krithak do not take prisoners, Hajin said quietly. They do not accept surrender. They consume everything. Every world they take, they strip bare. Everyone who lives there dies. So we fight, because dying in battle is better than dying while they eat you alive. His words made Yuna cold. She had read about the Krithak, but hearing it said so plainly was different. That night, Yuna could not sleep. She lay in her bed staring at the ceiling. Outside, she could hear the ship. It creaked and groaned. Somewhere, someone was laughing. The sound seemed wrong. How could anyone laugh when death was coming? At 0400 hours, the alarm sounded. The noise was so loud it hurt. Red lights flashed. Yuna jumped out of bed. She did not know what to do. Captain Park's voice came over the speakers. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Enemy contact in 30 minutes. Yuna ran to the bridge. Soldiers rushed past her. Their faces were set. Hard. The softness she had seen before was gone. Even young Doyen looked different. Older. Ready. On the bridge, Captain Park was giving orders. Her voice was calm. Steady. She saw Yuna and pointed to a small alcove. Strap in there. Stay out of the way. Yuna strapped herself into the seat. Through the main screen, she could see space, empty, dark. Then she saw them. Lights in the distance. Getting closer. So many lights. The Krithak fleet. Admiral Kang's face appeared on a screen. He looked directly at Yuna. Dr. Che, he said. You wanted to observe humans at war. You are about to get your wish. The screen went dark. Captain Park gave a command. The Steadfast began to move forward, toward the enemy. Yuna gripped her restraints. Her hands were shaking. For the first time since arriving, she felt real fear. but not of the Krithak. She was afraid of the coldness she saw in the humans around her, the way their eyes had changed, the way they had transformed from tired soldiers into something else, something that knew how to kill. The battle was about to begin. The first missile hit 3 minutes after Yuna strapped in. The impact threw her against her restraints. The ship shook like it was being torn apart. Lights flickered. Something exploded somewhere below. She could hear it through the walls. Damage report. Captain Park shouted, "Hull breach on deck 3. Sealing now," someone answered. Their voice was calm. Too calm. Yuna stared at the main screen. The Krithak ships were everywhere. They looked like insects, long and thin with too many parts sticking out. They moved in swarms, fast, chaotic. The human ships moved in formation, organized, but so few. "Target the lead ship," the captain ordered. "Fire all forward batteries." The Steadfast shuddered as it fired. On screen, Yuna saw the weapons hit. Bright flashes. The Krithak ship broke apart. "But 3 more took its place, Captain," a young officer said. 5 Krithak frigates breaking from the main group. They are heading for our rear. "Alert the corvette group," the captain said. Yuna watched the small human ships on screen. Corvettes. 5 of them moved to intercept the Krithak. They were so small, like toys. She did not understand how they could fight ships 3 times their size. Then she saw it. The corvettes were not slowing down. They were speeding up, racing toward the enemy. "What are they doing?" Yuna asked. No one answered her. Captain Park watched the screen. Her jaw was tight. A voice came over the radio. A man, he was singing. Yuna did not know the words, but she recognized the tune. It was a human folk song. Others joined him. 5 voices singing together. Then the corvettes hit the Krithak ships. The explosions were massive. So bright Yuna had to look away. When she looked back, all 5 corvettes were gone. 3 of the Krithak ships were destroyed. The other 2 were damaged and drifting. Yuna felt like she could not breathe. "They killed themselves," she whispered. "They volunteered," Captain Park said quietly. "Those ships were packed with nuclear weapons. 1 corvette for 1 Krithak frigate. That is good mathematics, good mathematics. 5 humans dead on purpose." Yuna wanted to vomit. In all her years studying war, she had never seen anything like this. Species sometimes sacrifice soldiers to save others, but this was different. This was planned, organized. They had turned suicide into a weapon. The battle continued. It was chaos. Ships exploded. Debris flew in every direction. The Steadfast took another hit, and another. Each time Yuna thought they would die. Each time, somehow, they did not. Dr. Hodgin appeared on the bridge. He strapped himself into a seat next to Yuna. His face was pale. "You should be in a shelter," Captain Park said to him. "I should be here," Hodgin said. He looked at Yuna. "You want to understand? Watch, listen, this is who we are." "Why?" Yuna asked. Her voice broke. "Why do this?" "Because 1 human dying to kill 100 Krithak is a victory," Hodgin said. "We will run out of ships before we run out of people willing to die in them." A terrible thought hit Yuna. They were not just fighting. They were managing a resource war, trading lives for kills, and they had decided that human lives were the resource they could afford to spend. An alarm screamed, different from before, louder. "Incoming!" Someone shouted. The impact was enormous. Yuna felt her restraints dig into her chest. Pain exploded in her ribs. The lights went out. Emergency lights came on, bathing everything in red. Sparks flew from a control panel. Someone screamed. When her vision cleared, Yuna saw blood on the captain's face, a cut above her eye. Park wiped it away and kept giving orders. "Damage report," the captain said. "Sections 4 through 7 are breached. We have 23 crew trapped in those sections. Life support is failing there." The captain closed her eyes for just a moment. When she opened them, they were hard. "Seal those sections, but Captain, the crew, seal them," the captain said louder. "Now." Yuna heard it over the internal communications. Voices, panicked, begging, then nothing. The captain had just killed 23 of her own people. Yuna must have made a sound. The captain looked at her. 23 dead or the whole ship? 300 people. "I choose the ship." The captain turned back to her screen. Her hands were shaking. Just slightly. Yuna saw it. The captain was not cold. She was not a monster. She was just doing what she thought had to be done. Somehow that made it worse. Hours passed. or maybe minutes. Yuna lost track of time. The battle went on and on. She watched ships die. Both sides. So many ships. The space around them became a cloud of debris and bodies. Finally, impossibly, the Krythak began to retreat. What was left of them? Yuna looked at the tactical display. Of the 200 Krythak ships, only 40 remained. They were fleeing, but the humans had lost 2. Of their 47 ships, only 16 were still functional. 31 destroyed, thousands of people dead. Admiral Kang's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired, so tired, but he was smiling. "Good work, everyone," he said. "We traded better than 3-1 today. That is a victory. A victory." Yuna wanted to laugh or scream. She was not sure which. This was victory. Thousands dead. Ships destroyed. A war that would continue tomorrow. The captain released them from battle stations. Yuna unbuckled her restraints. Her hands would not stop shaking. She tried to stand, but her legs would not hold her. She fell to her knees and vomited. In her species, they only vomited when something was terribly wrong. Extreme trauma, poison. She had never done it before. Someone helped her up. Young Doyen. His face was dirty with smoke and sweat, but his eyes were bright. "Are you okay, Dr. Che?" he asked. "I'm fine," Yuna lied. "Are you?" Doyen smiled. Actually smiled. "I am good." That was intense. I was on the lower gun batteries. "We got 3 kills. He said it with pride, like he was talking about a sports game. "I need to lie down," Yuna said. "I will walk you," Doyen offered. As they walked through the corridors, Yuna saw the damage. Walls blown open, fires being put out, medical teams carrying wounded on stretchers. Some people were crying. Most were not. They just looked tired. "Private Shin," Yuna said carefully. "Those corvettes that attacked the Krythak ships. Did you know the pilots?" Doyen's smile faded a little. "I knew one of them. Corporal Lee. He taught me how to use the targeting system. He was a good guy. And you are not sad?" Doyen thought about it. "I am sad, but also proud. He did what needed doing. He saved a lot of lives today. That matters more than being sad." They reached Yuna's quarters. Doyen started to leave, then stopped. "Dr. Che, I volunteered for the suicide corvettes. They did not choose me. I was disappointed." He said it like it was a confession, like he was ashamed. "Why would you volunteer for that?" Yuna asked. "Because it matters," Doyen said simply. "Because one person dying to save hundreds is a good trade." He shrugged. "Maybe next time they will pick me." He walked away. Yuna stood in her doorway watching him go. He was 19 years old and he wanted to die. Not because he was depressed, not because he had no hope, but because he thought it would help. That night there was a ceremony, a memorial for the fallen. Yuna forced herself to attend. She expected sadness, grief. Instead, she found something else. The crew gathered in the main hangar. Someone had set up a table with photographs, hundreds of them. The dead. People took turns telling stories. They laughed. They drank. Some cried, but not many. Captain Park noticed Yuna standing alone. She came over with 2 cups. "Drink," she said, handing one to Yuna. Yuna sipped it. Alcohol. Strong, it burned. "You look confused," the captain said. "I expected mourning," Yuna admitted. "This feels like a celebration." "It is," the captain said. "We do not mourn them. We honor them. They did what needed doing. We celebrate that they were brave, that they mattered. But they are dead. Yes, and they took 10 times their number with them. That is worth celebrating." The captain walked away to join her crew. Yuna stood there holding her cup. Around her, humans laughed and drank. They told stories of the dead like they were heroes. And maybe they were. But it was a kind of heroism that terrified Yuna. Back in her quarters, Yuna made another log entry. "I came here to study humanity's capacity for war. I am beginning to understand I am studying something far more terrifying. Their capacity to make war sustainable. They have turned sacrifice into something sacred, something to be celebrated. Death in service is not tragedy to them. It is honor. They have culturally evolved to accept death, to embrace it when necessary. This is not normal. No species in my database has done this. Humans have weaponized their own willingness to die." She stopped the recording. Her hands were still shaking. She could not stop seeing those corvettes racing toward the enemy, could not stop hearing the pilots singing as they died. Outside her window, work crews were already clearing debris, preparing for the next battle, because there would be a next battle, and another after that, until one side was completely destroyed. Una finally understood. The humans were not trying to win this war. They could not win. They were outnumbered, outgunned. But they could make the cost so high that maybe, just maybe, the Krathak would give up. And if that meant turning every human into a weapon, they would do it. They were already doing it. She closed her eyes but could not sleep. Every time she did, she saw the explosions, heard the singing, felt the ship shake when it was hit. Tomorrow they would fight again, and Una would watch, because that was why she came here. To observe, but part of her wished she had never come at all. 3 months passed. Una stopped counting the battles after the 5th one. Each fight was the same. The Krathak came. The humans fought. People died. The humans called it winning as long as they killed more than they lost. The fleet was down to 9 ships now. The Steadfast had been hit so many times that half the corridors were sealed off. The air tasted wrong, like metal and chemicals. Everyone coughed. No one complained. Una had changed too. She did not vomit anymore after battles. She barely slept. Her hands shook all the time now. Dr. Hajin said it was trauma. He gave her pills. They did not help much. One day, Admiral Kang summoned her to a classified briefing. When she arrived, guards checked her 3 times. The room was deep in the vigilance, behind thick doors. Inside, several officers stood around a table. On the table was something in a containment field. It moved, clicked, made sounds that hurt to hear. A Krathak, alive, captured. Dr. Che, the Admiral said, you have studied many species. I thought you might find this interesting. Una approached slowly. The creature was as large as she was. Its body was segmented, covered in hard shell. Multiple eyes moved independently. Mandibles clicked together. It smelled terrible. Like rotten acid. What are you doing with it? Una asked. Learning, a human scientist said. She was young. Her coat was stained with something dark. We need to understand their biology, their weaknesses. The scientist picked up a tool. She did something to the creature. It made a sound. High-pitched. Terrible. Una realized the woman was cutting into it. While it was alive. Stop, Una said. This is torture. The Admiral looked at her with cold eyes. This is war. They do not take prisoners. They do not surrender. They consume. So we learn how to kill them more efficiently. The Galactic Council bans this, Una said. This is against every law. The Galactic Council is not here, the Admiral interrupted. They are not fighting. They are not dying, we are. So we do what we must. Una left the room. She could still hear the creature screaming. She went to find Dr. Hajin. She found him in his small office, staring at a screen. They are torturing a prisoner, she told him. Hajin did not look surprised. I know. And you allow this? He finally looked at her. His eyes were red. He looked like he had not slept in days. What would you have us do? The Krathak are winning. Every day we lose ground. Every day more humans die. If cutting open one creature helps us kill 1,000 more, is that not worth it? No, Una said. There are lines that should not be crossed. There were lines, Hajin said quietly. We crossed them 2 years ago. We keep crossing them. Because the alternative is extinction. 2 weeks later, the humans deployed a new weapon. Una watched from the Steadfast as human ships fired strange missiles at a Krathak-occupied station. When the missiles hit, nothing exploded. Instead, a gas spread, green and thick. Through reconnaissance cameras, Una saw Krathak soldiers on the station die. Slowly, in obvious pain. It took hours. The humans watched and recorded everything. Biological weapon, Captain Park explained. Designed specifically for Krathak biology. Breaks down their shells from the inside. The Council banned biological weapons 3,000 years ago, Una said. Her voice was hollow. The Council has the luxury of rules, the captain said. We have the necessity of survival. The captain said it without emotion, like she was reading from a manual. Una realized this was not the first time she had given this explanation. 1 month later, Una was given permission to join a ground assault. She did not want to go, but she had to see, had to understand. This was why she came here. The target was a small Krathak outpost on an asteroid. 40 Marines would attack. Private Doyen was among them. He had changed over the months. His face was harder now. His eyes looked older. The softness was gone. The assault shuttle landed hard. The ramp dropped and Marines poured out. Una followed, wearing borrowed armor. It was too big and too heavy. The outpost was dark. Tight corridors. Water dripped from somewhere. The Marines moved in formation. Weapons ready? Una stayed in the middle, trying not to get in the way. The first Krithak came from a side passage. Fast. Too fast. It crashed into a Marine and they both went down. The other Marines opened fire. The noise in the enclosed space was deafening. The Krithak died, but so did the Marine it had attacked. They kept moving. More Krithak appeared. The fighting was brutal, close, personal. Una saw a Marine use a knife, saw another use the butt of his rifle like a club. Blood mixed with the yellow fluid that served as Krithak blood. Doyen was in front of Una when a Krithak dropped from the ceiling. It landed on him. They struggled. Una screamed. Other Marines fired but could not get a clear shot. Doyen pulled out a blade. He stabbed the creature over and over. Even after it stopped moving, he kept stabbing. When he finally stopped, he was covered in blood. Both kinds. His face was blank, empty. He stood up and kept moving with the squad. Like nothing had happened. The mission was successful. They destroyed the outpost, killed all the Krithak inside, lost 8 Marines. On the shuttle back, no one spoke. Doyen sat in a corner staring at nothing. Una tried to talk to him. "Private Shin? Are you okay?" He looked at her. Through her. "I am fine, ma'am," but he was not fine. Una could see it. The boy who had been excited to meet an alien was gone. In his place was something else. Something that knew how to kill. Something that would do it again without hesitation. That night, Una found Dr. Hajin in the observation deck. He was drinking. The bottle was half empty. "How do you live with this?" Una asked. "How do any of you?" Hajin laughed. It was not a happy sound. "We do not." "Not really. Suicide rates in the fleet are 40 times peacetime levels. Half the crew is on medication just to function. We are destroying ourselves to destroy them." He took another drink. "You want to know a secret? We know we cannot win this war and stay human. We made that choice. Survival over soul. Then why fight? Because extinction is worse. Because maybe, if we make it cost enough, they will leave Earth alone. That is all we have left. That small hope." Alarms sounded. Both of them jumped. Different alarms this time. Una had learned to recognize them. This was the worst kind. Mass enemy contact. They rushed to the bridge. Admiral Kang was already there, staring at a screen filled with red dots. "So many red dots. How many?" Captain Park asked. 400, the Admiral said. "Maybe more. This is their counteroffensive. This is the big one." Una looked at their own forces. 9 ships. Against 400. It was impossible. "All ships prepare to jump to fallback position," the Admiral ordered, "except for volunteers. I need 5 ships to stay behind. Buy the rest time to escape a rear guard. A suicide mission. Everyone knew it." Captain Park pressed a button. The steadfast volunteers. Una felt cold. "You do not have to do this." The captain looked at her. Really looked at her. "Yes, we do. Those other ships have younger crews, families. The steadfast is old. We are old. This is what we were always going to do." "Get Dr. Che to an evacuation shuttle," the Admiral ordered. "She is not military. She does not stay." 2 Marines grabbed Una. She struggled. "Wait, I want to stay. I need to see." "You have seen enough," Captain Park said softly. "Go home. Tell them what we did here. Tell them we did not go quietly." They dragged Una to the shuttle bay. She saw Doyen there loading ammunition. "Private Shin," she called. "You are staying?" He looked up. For a moment, just a moment, he looked like the boy she had first met. Then it was gone. "I volunteered. This is what I always wanted." To matter. The Marines pushed her onto the shuttle. The door closed. Through the window she saw Doyen wave. Then the shuttle launched. Other shuttles launched too, evacuating personnel from the 5 ships that would stay, but many chose to stay. Maybe most. Una watched as the Steadfast grew smaller. The ship that had been her home for 3 months. The tactical display in the shuttle showed what happened next. The 4 remaining ships jumped away. The 5 rearguard ships turned to face the oncoming Krithak fleet. 5 ships against 400. The battle began. The rearguard ships fought with everything they had. They used every weapon, every trick, every suicide tactic. They died one by one. First one. Then another. Then another. The Steadfast was the last. It fought alone for 20 minutes. An eternity in space combat. Una watched through her tears as it took hit after hit. Still it fought. Captain Park's voice came over the emergency channel. Calm. Clear. We bought you 6 hours. Make them count. Then the Steadfast exploded. The light was so bright it hurt to look at. When it faded, there was nothing left. Just debris. Just atoms. Una collapsed. She had never cried before. Not like this. Her species did not cry often. Only for family. Only for genetic relatives, but she cried now. For Captain Park, for young Doyen, for everyone on that ship. For everyone she had met in these terrible months. She cried until she had no more tears. Dr. Hodgen was on the shuttle too. He sat next to her. Put a hand on her shoulder. Welcome to war, Doctor. This is what it does to us. All of us. Una realized he was right. The war had not just changed the humans. It had changed her too. She was not a detached observer anymore. She had become part of the story she was trying to study, and she could never go back to who she was before. The shuttle brought Una to Earth. She had never seen the human homeworld before. From space, it should have been beautiful. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds. But it was dark, so dark. The cities that should have glowed with light were black, camouflaged, hiding from the enemy. Around the planet, thousands of defense stations floated. Weapons platforms, mines, automated guns. The whole system was a trap waiting to spring. They landed at a military base deep underground. When Una stepped out, the air was stale and recycled. Everything was concrete and metal. Harsh lights. Armed guards everywhere. This was not a world at peace. This was a world preparing to die. Admiral Kang met her in a briefing room. He looked even more tired than before. Gray hair was now white. New lines marked his face. But his eyes were still hard. Dr. Che, he said, I am glad you made it safely. I know you lost friends on the Steadfast. Una nodded. She did not trust her voice. I brought you here because there is something you need to see. Something you need to understand before you report to your council. He led her through more corridors, deeper underground. Security got tighter with each checkpoint. Finally, they reached a massive vault door. It took 3 codes and a retinal scan to open. Inside was a command center. Screens covered every wall. Technicians worked at dozens of stations. At the center was a control panel with a single red button under a clear cover. Project Prometheus, the Admiral said. Our final option, what is it? Una asked. The Admiral gestured to the screens. They showed the Sol system. Markers indicated weapon placements throughout. If Earth falls, we detonate everything. Every nuclear weapon we have. Every antimatter charge, everything. The blast will destroy the entire system. This planet, this star, everything within 5 light hours. Una felt sick. You would kill yourselves? We would kill them, the Admiral corrected. Any Krithak fleet in the system dies with us. That is victory enough. This is insane. This is survival. If we lose, they consume Earth. 11 billion people die slowly. This way we take them with us. We make them pay for every inch. He walked closer to her. Your Galactic Council abandoned us. They said we were too aggressive, that this war was our fault. They refused to help. So we made our own solution. The Council will intervene, Una said. But even as she said it, she knew it was not true. Will they? The Admiral pulled up communications logs. Messages from the Galactic Council. Denial after denial. Request for military aid denied. Request for weapons denied. Request for evacuation assistance denied. They decided we are not worth saving. So we will save ourselves, or die trying. That night, Una was given quarters in the base. But she could not rest. She requested a meeting with the Human High Council. To her surprise, they agreed. The next day, she stood before the leaders of humanity. 12 people in a conference room. They looked normal, tired, scared, not like monsters. Just people trying to survive. Dr. Che, the council chair said, we understand you wish to speak. I want to help, Una said. I can speak to my council. Convince them to intervene. There must be a diplomatic solution. The chair smiled sadly. We appreciate that. But your council has made their position clear. They view us as the aggressors. They think we provoked the Krithak. But that is not true. No, it is not. But it does not matter. The galaxy has decided we are not worth saving. So we have decided that if we must die, we will make it so expensive that no one will forget. Another council member spoke. An older woman with white hair. Do you know how many species the Krithak have consumed? 23. Do you know how long the longest resistance lasted before humanity? 18 months. We have been fighting for 3 years. We have killed millions of them, destroyed thousands of their ships. When we die, we will have weakened them so much that maybe, just maybe, they will think twice before attacking another species. You are planning your own extinction, Yuna said. We are planning to matter, the chair said. Better to die fighting than to die begging. Yuna left the meeting feeling hollow. She found Dr. Hajin in a small cafeteria. He was eating alone. She sat across from him. They told you about Prometheus, he said. Not a question. Yes. And now you are wondering what kind of monsters we are. Yuna looked at him. Really looked at him. He had aged so much. I do not think you are monsters. I think you are desperate, Hajin laughed bitterly. Desperate, yes, that is a good word. Do you want to know what I do here? My real work? He pulled out a tablet, showed her files, psychological profiles, training programs. I design conditioning protocols, ways to make soldiers more willing to die, more willing to kill. I weaponize the human mind. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to understand. Private Shin, that boy you liked, he was part of my test group. His willingness to stay behind, to die on the steadfast, I helped engineer that. I made him want to sacrifice himself. Yuna felt like she had been hit. You brainwashed him? I optimized his existing tendencies, made him better at what he already wanted to do. He volunteered for every program, every enhancement. He wanted to be useful. I just helped him be more useful. Hajin put the tablet down. I hate what I do, but someone has to do it, and I am good at it. So I keep going, because every soldier I condition might save 10 others, might kill 100 Krithak. The mathematics are brutal but simple. You have all become what you needed to become, Yuna said quietly. You have sacrificed your humanity to survive. Yes, Hajin agreed. And when this is over, if we survive, we will have to live with that. But at least we will live. Days passed. Yuna tried to work on her report, tried to find words to explain what she had seen. But how could she explain this to species that had never faced extinction? How could she make them understand? One evening, Admiral Kang summoned her again. This time they went to a different observation room. Through the window, Earth rotated slowly below. So dark, so quiet. I wanted to talk to you, the Admiral said. Before the end. The end? The Krithak main fleet, 2,000 ships. They will be here in 72 hours. We have 200 ships left to defend Earth. It is over. He said it calmly, like he was discussing the weather. I wanted you to understand before you leave. You came here to study us, to understand our capacity for war. But you were asking the wrong question. What is the right question? The Admiral turned to look at her. It is not about capacity. It is about necessity. Every species in your Galactic Council has the luxury of choice. They can choose peace because they were never threatened with total extinction. We do not have that luxury. The Krithak gave us 2 options. Become monsters or become extinct. We chose monstrosity. He looked back at Earth. And when this is over, if we survive, we will have to live with what we became. That is the real cost of this war. Not the ships, not the soldiers. The cost is our humanity itself, and we are paying it willingly because the alternative is oblivion. You are not fighting to win, Yuna said. Understanding finally clicked into place. You are fighting to make them pay. We are fighting so that when we die, the galaxy remembers. So that when the Krithak come for another species, that species will know what it takes to resist. We are becoming a warning. He pulled out a data chip. This contains everything. Every battle, every tactic, every weapon we developed. When you leave, take this to your council. Show them what it takes to fight extinction. Show them the price of abandoning allies. Yuna took the chip. Her hands were shaking. There must be another way. If there is, we never found it. Maybe you will, but probably not. War is simple. Kill or be killed. All the complexity, all the morality, all the philosophy. It all comes down to that in the end. He handed her a pass. A courier ship leaves in 6 hours. You should be on it. There is no reason for you to die here. What if I want to stay? What if I want to witness the end? The Admiral actually smiled. It looked strange on his face. Then you have become more human than you know. But no, you have work to do. Someone needs to tell the galaxy what happened here. That night, Yuna made a recording. Her final report before leaving. I came to observe humans at war. I have seen things I wish I never saw. I have watched them sacrifice everything. Their morality, their peace, their humanity itself. They have become what they needed to become, and we abandoned them. The Galactic Council decided humans were too aggressive, too violent. We let them die alone. She paused, collecting her thoughts. If you are seeing this recording, humanity is dead, and we are responsible. We could have helped. We chose not to. What comes next, whatever the Krythak do next? That blood is on our hands. She stopped recording. Outside, warning sirens began to wail. The Krythak fleet had been detected. Earlier than expected. The countdown had begun. 72 hours until the end. Maybe less. Una had a choice. Leave on the courier ship, or stay and witness the final battle. Stay and die with the humans who had become something like friends. She looked at the data chip in her hand, the evidence of everything humanity had sacrificed, the proof of what it took to fight extinction. She made her decision. She would leave, not because she was afraid, but because the Admiral was right. Someone needed to survive to tell the story. Someone needed to make the galaxy understand. But as she walked toward the courier ship, she knew she was leaving part of herself behind, the part that believed in simple answers. Una was halfway to the courier ship when the alarms changed. New sounds, urgent, different. She stopped. A young officer ran past her. She grabbed his arm. What is happening? She asked. The fleet is early. They are here now. 2,000 ships. The battle starts in 20 minutes. He pulled free and kept running. 20 minutes. Una looked toward the courier ship. She could leave. Should leave. But she found herself turning around, running back toward the command center. She had to see. She had to witness the end. The command center was chaos. Screens showed the Krythak fleet approaching. So many ships they looked like a swarm of insects. The human fleet moved to intercept. 200 ships against 2,000. Impossible odds. Admiral Kang saw her enter. He did not look surprised. Could not leave? I have to see, Una said. He nodded. Then strap in. This will be rough. The battle began. The human fleet used every tactic they had learned. Suicide ships packed with nuclear weapons, biological weapons, mines, ambush formations. They fought like demons. Ships died by the dozen. Both sides, but there were too many Krythak. For every one destroyed, 2 more took its place. The human lines began to collapse. Ships broke formation. Some tried to retreat. Most stayed and fought until they were destroyed. After 3 hours, only 50 human ships remained. The Krythak had lost 800. But it was not enough. It would never be enough. Activate Prometheus, Admiral Kang ordered. His voice was steady. 6-hour countdown. The red button under the clear cover lit up. Someone entered codes. The countdown began. In 6 hours, the Sol system would become a tomb. For humans and Krythak both, Una watched the timer. 6 hours. 360 minutes. She would die here. They all would. And somehow she was okay with that. Better to die witnessing than to live knowing she had run. Then something changed. New contacts appeared on the screens. Different signatures. Not Krythak. Not human. What is that? Someone asked. The computers identified them. Galactic Council ships. Hundreds of them. Emerging from jump space right in the middle of the battle. Una felt her heart stop. The Council, they came. Finally, impossibly, they came. A communication came through. A Valari commander. From her own species. Human fleet, this is Galactic Council emergency response. We are here to assist. Request you deactivate your doomsday weapon. Admiral Kang laughed. It was a terrible sound. You come now? After we are broken? After we sacrificed everything? No, the weapon stays active. Admiral, please. We can drive the Krythak back, but not if you detonate. That weapon will destroy our fleet too. Then I suggest you work quickly, the Admiral said. You have 5 hours and 43 minutes. If the Krythak are still here when the timer reaches 0, everyone dies. Us, them, you. He cut the communication, looked at his officers. Continue fighting. Make the Krythak pay for every inch. The Council fleet engaged. Their ships were fresh, undamaged. Their weapons were advanced. They tore through the Krythak formations. The tide of battle shifted, but it was slow. So slow. Una watched the timer counting down. 5 hours. 4. 3. The Krythak were losing but fighting hard. They did not retreat. They never retreated. At 2 hours remaining, the Council commander contacted again. Admiral Kang, we are pushing them back. Please deactivate your weapon. We can win this. You can win. The Admiral shook his head. You do not get to swoop in at the last moment and claim victory. This is our fight, our sacrifice. The weapon stays active until every Krethak ship is destroyed or fled. You are holding the galaxy hostage. Yes, because the galaxy held us hostage first. You let us die alone for 3 years. Now you help because we threaten your ships. Now you care. So fight faster. The Council fleet intensified their attack. 1 hour remaining. Then 30 minutes. The Krethak lines broke. They began to retreat, to flee. The Council ships pursued. At 10 minutes remaining, the last Krethak ship jumped away. The system was clear. The battle was won. Admiral Kang stared at the countdown. 9 minutes, 8. His hand hovered over the abort button. Admiral, an officer said quietly, it is over. We won, did we? The Admiral looked at the casualty reports. Thousands of ships destroyed. Millions dead. Earth in ruins. What exactly did we win? But he pressed the abort button. The countdown stopped. The weapon powered down. The Sol system would survive. For now. The command center erupted in cheers. People hugged, cried, laughed. They had survived. Against all odds, they had survived. Una sat in her chair, numb. They won. The humans won. But at what cost? 6 months later, Una stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was massive. Representatives from 127 species watched her. She held the data chip Admiral Kang had given her. It felt heavy, like it weighed more than the universe. Dr. Che, the council speaker, said, "You have requested time to present your findings. The floor is yours." Una connected the chip. Screens around the chamber lit up. She showed them everything. Every battle. Every sacrifice. Every atrocity. She showed them corvettes racing to their deaths. She showed them biological weapons melting Krethak soldiers. She showed them Project Prometheus. All of it. The chamber was silent when she finished. Humanity survived, Una said. But they are not the same species they were. They transformed themselves into weapons. They sacrificed their morality, their peace, their very humanity to resist extinction, and we abandoned them to do it alone. She looked around the chamber. We deemed them too aggressive, too violent. We let them fight a war of extermination alone, and now they have weapons that can threaten the entire galaxy. They have proven they will use them. This is what we created by our abandonment. A Tyrillian representative spoke. What would you have us do? Humanity is dangerous now. They must be contained. Contained? Una felt anger rise in her. They became dangerous to survive. Because we gave them no choice. The answer is not containment. The answer is integration, trust, alliance. If we treat them as enemies, they will become enemies. The debate went on for hours, days. The council was divided. Some wanted humanity quarantined. Others wanted them disarmed. A few, very few, agreed with Una. In the end, they voted. Humanity would be integrated into the Galactic Council. But under probation, monitored, limited. It was not trust, but it was not war either. It was something in between. Una knew it was not enough. But it was a start. 1 year after the war ended, Una returned to the Sol system to see what remained. What had survived? Earth was still dark, still damaged. But people were rebuilding, slowly, carefully. The defense stations still orbited. The weapons platforms remained active. Humanity had not forgotten the lessons of war. She met Admiral Kang in the same observation room where they had last spoken. He looked older, so much older. The war had aged him decades, Dr. Che, he said. You came back. I had to see, had to know if humanity survived. Not just physically, but as a species. The Admiral looked out at Earth. That is a good question. We won, we survived. But look at us. We are not the species we were. We have become what we needed to become to win. The question now is whether we can become something else again. Can you? I do not know. We are trying. But it is hard to unlearn survival. Hard to stop seeing threats everywhere. Hard to trust again when trust almost killed us. He turned to face her. Project Prometheus still exists. Hidden, secret. A weapon of last resort. The Council does not know, cannot know, because we will never be helpless again. We will never rely on others to save us, Una understood. Humanity would never fully disarm. Never fully trust. The war had changed them permanently. What about you? The Admiral asked. You are different too. I can see it. I am, Una admitted. I came here to observe humans at war. to study your capacity for violence. I learned something else instead. What did you learn? That any species can become what you became, given the right circumstances, the right threat, the right desperation. There is nothing unique about humanity. You are just the ones who had to face it first. But it could be anyone. It could be my people. Any of us. She looked at the Admiral. That is the real horror. Not what you did, but knowing that we would do the same in your position. That survival requires monstrosity. That extinction forces transformation. They stood in silence for a long time, watching Earth slowly rotate below. So much death, so much sacrifice, so much change. Finally, Yuna spoke again. I was sent to observe humans at war. Now I wish I never went, because I cannot unknow what I learned, cannot unsee what I saw. The galaxy will never be the same. Neither will I. The Admiral nodded slowly. Welcome to the club. None of us are the same. We are all survivors now, carrying the weight of what we did, what we became, what we might become again if we have to. Yuna left the Sol system that evening. Her ship jumped away, leaving Earth behind. But she carried it with her. The memory of what she witnessed. The knowledge of what survival costs. She would spend the rest of her life trying to prevent another species from facing what humanity faced. Trying to make the galaxy understand. Trying to ensure no one else had to become monsters to survive. But deep down she knew it was probably futile. The Krethak were still out there. Still hungry, and there were other threats. Other extinctions waiting to happen. Somewhere, someday, another species would face impossible choices. Would have to decide between death and transformation, between extinction and monstrosity.